So my deep appreciation for you, Abraham, and Esther, and the whole team that puts all these things on.
Because we talk, you listen, and you find resonance with who you are. And that's what that appreciation is. It's a sometimes momentary returning to the vibrational essence of yourself. It's delicious, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Yes.
So my question is, or my discussion that I would like to have, is the value of not telling it like it is, but acknowledging how it is so that you can then move forward. And acknowledging where you are, essentially.
There you go. There you go. The benefit of that is that satisfaction comes from only one place. Remember, you are creators and you're expanding beings and you are eternal. And so when your life causes you to identify something more that you want, and so when your life causes you to identify something more that you want, and you move in opposition to it, it feels unsatisfying. But when life helps you to identify something that you want and you move with your thoughts and words and actions in the direction of it, is satisfying. And so if you don't know where you are, if there isn't some awareness of where you are, then that satisfaction is not as keenly known. But it's a dance that you want to dance delicately, because too much attention from most people is about where they are. If you could have your eye on where you're going. Jerry always said, put your basket out far enough that it's exciting when you hit it, but not so far that you don't think you can. And we've been saying, satisfied with what is and eager for more. That's a really nice balance. Yeah.
Right. At the same time, I've heard your analogy about, the looking through the hole in the bottom, analogy about, the looking through the hole in the bottom of the car to see where you're driving versus looking through your windshield.
You're glad it's out there, not there.
Right. But at the same time, you still have to get into your car so you can start driving. So, right, for the acknowledging where you are so you can start driving going
so
forward.
What you're really talking about is the path of least resistance. In other words, when you're getting in your car, the path of least resistance is not looking out the front windshield. The path of least resistance is getting in your car, getting yourself comfortable in your car, maybe even doing a little segment intending. So what we're really talking about is focusing. A lot of conversation about the power of now, focusing in the now where all of your power is. Now is the junction where the non-physical you meets the physical you, and your inner being is aware of everything that you are about, and your inner being is giving undivided attention to where you're aware of everything that you are about, and your inner being is giving undivided attention to where you are in relationship to everything that you want. So focus on what's next, what's next, what's next, what's next. Esther used to say to Jerry, she did most of the driving as they drove their monster bus all over the nation, and she'd say, now remind me again, what interstate are we going to be on? He was so full of information that was meaningful. He said to her one day, all of the even numbered highways, all the even number ones go from east to west. Highway 10, Highway 20, Highway 30, Highway 40, Highway 50, Highway 60, Highway 80, Highway 90. And all of the uneven ones, Interstate 5, 15, 25, 35, 45, they all go north-south. Esther said, how can I be this old and not know that? It was exhilarating for her to now understand that when someone talks about a highway, she could place it somewhere on this big map of this big nation. So he was the navigator, because they were doing this long before the navigational systems were as efficient as they are. And she would say, now tell me again, what's our route? And for a long time he would tell her. And then one day she said, now remind me again. I know we're going to go about 600 miles, and remind me again, what's our route? And he said, how about if I just tell it to you right before it's time to make the turn? Because I really don't think you're going to hold this all in your mind right now, and I really don't think that it is that beneficial that you do. And wasn't he right? In other words, why was she trying to hold that map in her head when she had a map giver right here sitting right next to her who could say, he could be asleep on the sofa in the monster bus. He could be asleep on the sofa in the monster bus and wake up 2 minutes before the next. It was uncanny how his inner mind knew where he was in relationship with where they wanted to be. And you're all that way too. So you don't have to figure it all out. Oh, here it is. You know what the plan is? The plan is to experience as much pleasure in this moment as is humanly possible. And then in this one, 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 and then in this one. And if you get too far away from where you are, then you introduce confusion. Esther was in the beauty shop the other day. There were 4 women there, 2 technicians and 2 clients, and they talked about so many things. She couldn't believe she had been there only an hour and a half. It was like they changed the world, just the 4 of them. None of them really know what Esther does, and it's just as well, because everyone needs a break from this, right? But they were talking about kids, and they were talking about dogs, and they were talking about schools, and they were talking about families, and they were talking about Christmas, and they were talking about traffic, and they were talking about weather. They talked about everything. And one of them says, my husband calls this the paralysis of analysis. And Esther had not heard that expression before. Apparently it's not uncommon, but Esther had never heard it. Paralysis of analysis. And that's what happens when you try too hard to figure too much out that isn't pertinent to your now. In other words, because the law of attraction is responding to right where you are. The law of attraction is not giving you the turn that you're going to make 450 miles from now. That's not what the law of attraction is giving 450 miles from now. That's not what the law of attraction is giving you, the impulse to turn left 450 miles before you're at that corner. Your inner being is not giving that to you. So if you want to get in sync with your inner being, no, your inner being knows where you're headed and what you want, all of it. Your inner being knows how all of that intersects with all of that. Your inner being knows all of the surprises and delights that are in store for you and how you can get the most benefit moment by all of that. But do you think it would be helpful if your inner being told you all of that today? But knowing that it's there, and knowing that what you want and need will be there when you want and need it, if you're loose and open and expectant and feeling good, then you don't have to plan your whole life. You know why? You've already put enough in your vibrational reality. We call that the vortex. You've already put enough in your vibrational reality. We call that the vortex. We wrote a book about it so you'd know it's real. This vibrational reality, you have enough in that to keep you busy, happily busy, for 20 or 30 or 40 lifetimes. The combinations of what you've set into motion, you've done the work, you've lived the life, you've asked for what you want, and of course you're amending it as you move along, but your inner being is on it. Your work now is to be happy now, and we promise you, let's talk for just a little bit, because you're right on the brink of really getting what we mean. So let's talk about the water coming to a boil in vibrational terms, in broader terms of attraction. So vibration is happening. Now, vibration is a clumsy word in that it means a lot of things. And vibrations, as you know, think about the different frequencies. That are vibrations and energies that are vibrations. Just think about the signals that are moving through this room and through your bodies. In other words, the understanding of the way energy flows. So Esther finds the word vibration that means all of that, and we mean it in the fullest sense of the word. So there are vibrations, and let's call that your earliest point of manifestation. That's when you turn the fire on, is when there's a vibration going on. And most of the vibration, just like the cell phone signals and all of the other signals that are going through this building, through this room, around this earth, through your bodies, you're unaware of. You're also unaware of all the vibrational frequencies that have been going on, that have been trending in humanity and long before there was humanity. In other words, don't try to comprehend it, just acknowledge that it is. Let's call it vibration. Big old clumsy word, vibration. but let's call it first, big old clumsy word, vibration, but let's call it first manifestation, first awareness of manifestation. So there's a vibration that the law of attraction is responding to in minute and specific ways that so far are pretty much indescribable and indefinable or even understandable. It's the basis of all that is. So you've got these vibrations going on and you're moving around with each other, and something about the way you're mixing it up with each other causes you to think a thought. Well, that thought is a manifestation of vibrations. First it was simmering, and now it's a thought. And you might focus upon that long enough that you might feel like you want to articulate it. Now that manifestation was a vibration that became a bigger manifestation, a more manifestation that was a vibration that became a bigger manifestation, a more manifested version of the thought. Now there's an emotion. And it's at the point that there is an emotional manifestation within you that it really matters. Because once life has caused you to feel something, now you can feel that junction where you meet you. And you got to remember, your inner being has been with you and knows long before you even came into this body what's in your vortex and what it is you want and what your true point of attraction is. All those vibrations that are over there that you can't see or hear or smell or taste or touch, but they are attractive. They are attraction based, and the law of attraction is coming to them. And you know why? This is the best part of this whole day. You know why the law of attraction is responding to the vortex version of you that you can't even really identify completely yet? Is because your inner view that you can't even really identify completely yet is because your inner being is focused upon it in its full fruition, and the law of attraction is responding to the focus of your inner being who has the fire on under your creation. A steady attention of focus under your creation. So all the things you care about are getting more and more and more, and the way you feel in any moment in time is about your relationship to this focused fire that the larger part of you is keeping going on your behalf. Don't you like knowing that? So when you don't feel so good, the fire didn't go out. Your inner being's never going to take attention away from what you said you want in its most advanced and evolved stage, what you have amended it to be, and all of the cooperative components that have been gathered. So you are constantly in your powerful now. We love this question. In your powerful now, you are constantly powerful now. We love this question. In your powerful now, you are constantly in relationship with the evolving, expanding you, meaning the evolving, expanding inner being who is focused unequivocally and exactly and precisely on that which you think you are becoming, but your inner being knows you've already become. And so when you feel negative emotion, it just means you got a little tug of war going on between who you really are and how much of it you're letting yourself be. So when that vibration turns to a thought, turns to an emotion, a manifestation of an emotion is a really big thing, because it's at that point that you can say, oh, that's unfortunate. No, that's fortunate. That's your pivot point. And when you take that pivot point early, when it's just a vibration that turned to a word that turned to an emotion, it's so easy to take the turn to an emotion. It's so easy to take the pivot then. But if you have an emotion and you don't choose to make it feel better by your focus, it's going to become something more. It's going to become a conversation. It's going to become a car accident. It's going to become an ankle that doesn't feel so good. It's going to become something bigger. And if you don't notice it, it will get bigger. And the more manifested version it is, the more the reality of what is difficult for you all to stop focusing upon, because you can see it and hear it and taste it and smell it and feel it. And so its realness is so much a part of your engagement that you keep it real even if you don't want it.